Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. My name is Patience Hemmingway, and I'm excited to have you here today. Come on in, come on in, come on in. I hope you're having a wonderful afternoon. Yes, today we have a very special guest. Hi, Kelvin. Thank you for joining. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you. I hope you're having a wonderful afternoon today. Thank you. Please invite your friends. Invite your friends and share this video. We're going to learn and discuss a very essential topic, which is how well do you negotiate? I'm sure you have negotiated before. How well do you negotiate? Hi, Monica. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much. Please, as you come on, let us know where you're joining us from. I appreciate your time. Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Kelvin. Hi, thank you for joining. Yes. So please, if you're joining us today, let us know where you're joining us from. Hi, Richard. Let us know where you're joining us from so we will give you a shout out wherever you are in the world. Just type in where you're joining us from and whichever state you are joining us from. And if you happen to be catching the replay, please do the same. Let us know where you're watching from, okay? We appreciate you. So today's topic is how well do you negotiate? Thank you, Monica from Arizona. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I do not know how well each and every one of you knows how to negotiate, but once upon a time, there was a very skilled army general who was in charge of a very, very large and a mighty army. He was set to go on a war to liberate his country. What do you think he did first? If your guess is as good as mine, oh, he was getting his battalions and everyone ready. But no, that's not what he did. He went to his coach. Imagine that. A skilled army general who has been doing this forever still went to a coach. So probably you are here listening to us. You are an executive, you are a CEO, you are an entrepreneur, you are a parent. You will need a coach. So what did the coach tell this mighty man? The coach said, take your arrow. It was an old story, okay? So he was using a bow and an arrow. So the army general took the bow and the arrow in his hands. He was obedient and he was listening to everything. Then the coach said, hit it on the ground. He hit it on the ground 3 times and then he stopped. The coach looked at him and said, why did you stop? He said, that was my limit. But in life, when there is a coach in your life, the coach pushes you higher. They coach you upwards. That is what they do. So here I am with me, my very own coach. This lady, if you see me smiling and not having a rest face, it's because of her. She will tell you more about rest face. So my dear listeners and viewers, you might be a general who negotiates all the time, but in life, you always need someone. That is why I'm bringing you my very special guest. Her name is Judy-Ann Chung. She is a confidence coach. Judy-Ann is the founder of Coaching You Upward, LLC. That is why I said you need someone wherever you are. You will need that someone to pull you up higher. The mighty general hit the arrow just 3 times, but the coach was in his life to tell him, you can do better than that. Judy-Ann has over 20 years of management experience in the investment banking industry. She also has over 10 years experience helping leaders increase their confidence and achieve their career goals as well as their life goals. Without much ado, help me welcome Judy-Ann. Thank you, Judy.
All right, thank you so much for having me here, and I'm humbled and then be asked to participate in your life today. So thanks for having me. All righty. So just a little bit about me. So as you already introduced me, Patience introduced me, I'm a confidence and a leader. And basically, I help my clients to build their confidence, elevate, retrain their mindsets, and activate their brilliant, their ideas from concept to reality. So in a nutshell, I basically love to see my clients win. So that's a little bit about me. She already shared about a little bit on my bio. So of course, any further questions, you're welcome to ask me.
Yes.
So
Thank you, Judy. Judy, so can you, before we start, can you tell them about the rest phase that got me all so excited? What is your concept on the rest phase and your story about it?
Okay, so just so you guys understand the backstory behind the resting phase. So I did a live a couple months back, and we were talking about it's centered around confidence, of course, but part of confidence is being aware the cues that you're giving off, and some of them are unconscious cues, and that could also involve expression. So it is said that a smile can be seen all the room, and it's warm and it's inviting, right? But sometimes, like for instance, Patience could be listening to me or me to Patience, is that we're not aware, we're intently listening, but we're not aware that the facial muscles turn down. So that gives us what's called a bit of a frown and probably more hostile than we wanted to be, or we're not upset at all, but that is what's being perceived at the other end. So it is said, try to work on giving that little half smile. You don't have to do the Kool-Aid grin, but you do that half smile when you're listening. So that means it can be interpreted as a more welcoming and warmer feature of your facial expressions and your social cues. So that's a little backstory behind why Patience was obviously quite taken by that. But it is, there's research and data to back it up, and it is true. Try it out. Just give yourself that little,
yeah.
As I said, it doesn't need to be the Kool-Aid grin, but that, be conscious of your facial muscles around here. So that's it.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Judy, for that. It has always been at the back of my mind anytime I'm standing in front of people. Hi, Sula. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you for sharing the video. Please, if you're joining us, thank you for joining. And please share this video. Invite your friends. If you are a CEO, if you are an entrepreneur, whoever you are, in any form of life, wherever you are in a form of negotiation. And this discussion will help you. Please take something out of it. I don't know if any of you have seen the video that went viral called Linda, Listen. That little boy was negotiating with the parent. So you don't have to be in the office to be negotiating. Your children are negotiating with you all the time. When you get on the street, you go to the car dealer, anywhere you are, in the office, if you're applying for a new job or you're already in there. So for all you know, you are being paid less than you are supposed to. But if you don't know what to say, this lady, she helped me in that part too. We will talk about that at another time. So my question to you, Judy-Ann, are some people born natural negotiators? Are there people who are pre-packaged with wit and confidence, like they just come, like the little boy in Linda, Listen?
Well, I would say that everyone is born a negotiator. And the reason I say that is, baby, when you are hungry, you are negotiating with, whether it be your parent or whomever it is, the babysitter. At that moment, you want that food, whatever it is. So you are going to cry until you get that milk. That is negotiation. Now, the thing is, the real question, that skill then enhanced as you go through life. This is, unfortunately, it's not. But would you say everyone is born to negotiate? Absolutely, because the minute you're born, you're negotiating something. You need something in exchange because you do not have all the resources readily available, internally. You have to get those resources. So yes, you are negotiating at some point. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much. So as a parent,
about that one.
I like that. It builds your confidence to hear that you were born with it. So I like that you emphasize that. So if you're listening, just know that you were born a negotiator. Yes. Okay.
Right.
So,
I mean, and if you take it back to the story, I know there's a delay, so we may talk over each other. Forgive us a slight lag. But if you take it back where you mentioned about that video that went viral, Linda, look how young he was, right? And he was definitely in case. So, and look how, right? So that kind of ties in. I had no idea you were going to share that story, but it actually what I just said to you. So yeah. So yeah.
yes. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you, Dr. Lambert. Thank you for joining. Hey, Chad, thank you so much for joining us from London. Please type in where you're joining us from so we can give you a shout out. We appreciate your time joining us on a Sunday. You could be doing any other thing, but you joining for this important conversation about negotiating. How well do you negotiate, Chad? How well do you negotiate, Angela? Thank you for sticking around. Share this video to your friends and let them pick up something for the coming week, because you never know, someone is applying for a job or someone needs to go speak with their higher ups. So, Judy-Ann, what makes
Right.
one
And I
a
just want to
better
shout out
negotiator?
before we go ahead. Before I answer that, I just want to shout out a few people that I know are here. So Angela, thanks for joining us. And Jerome, thanks for joining us also. So there's a few that I can see that's coming in on my side. Obviously, you can see the predominantly on your side since it's your live, but I just wanted to shout out. So go ahead.
Thank you
You were
all.
saying?
Thank you, Angela, for joining. Thank you so much. Your live last week was great. Thank you. Yes. So my next question was about, Chad, thank you. I wanted to ask, what makes one a better negotiator? What are some of the negotiation skills? What separates one from another?
Well, with every skill, there is always, you know, the level of the skill, the average level, and the highly skilled, right? And with everything comes this knowledge, etc. So let's look at some of the basic things that you'll want to think about. And these are just basic foundational information, depending on the different kind of that you are negotiating. There could be different things that you may utilize. So let's keep it in general for now. So the first thing that you need to know in terms of your skills, so somebody who's going to start off, is negotiation. What is it that I really want out of this at the end of the day? Okay, what is it that I truly value? What is my walkaway point? What is it that I would be willing to trade for what I truly want? And then have options, right? So there are going to be options where if this negotiation does not go the way I want it to go, what is my alternate option that I have available? So those are some of those very basic things. And then if you can also ask open-ended questions, where you would try, the reason for asking the open-ended questions, similar to how a coach would, you want to ask questions that you get enough information out of the other person so you can see what is truly valued. So it's not just about you, right? A good negotiator wants to find out what is it of true value to the other. Now, when you find out those key pieces of information, right, you're now positioned to be able to negotiate better, because you can say, okay, what is it that I can trade with you? So then I can get what I value and you also get what you value. So that's one of the reasons why you ask these open-ended questions. So one of the things higher skilled negotiation would do is that they would actually ask you a question to get you to say no. And
Wow.
the reason for that, exactly, right? Now, you say to yourself, I want you to say no if I'm negotiating, right? I want you to say yes. But actually, you want them to say no. And that's mental differences between somebody who's of negotiation versus somebody who's higher skilled. And the reason you want them to say, because it gives you clarity and it gives you direction. What do I mean by that? If you say no to me, at least now I know not to proceed in that direction because it's not going to happen, right? And I now know where to go. So if I say yes, I won't know. No, if the person says yes, I won't know if I could have pushed the barometer a little bit higher, right? But if you
Yes.
say no,
Yes.
what's your cutoff point? And I know what direction, and I have clarity. So then I would keep asking additional open-ended questions to get where do I want to go from there. All right. So those are some of the things that you do. Now, one of the things you don't do, do not lie. People say, oh, well, you can white lie. No, I don't encourage people to lie, because in some instances it can even invalidate the contract that you just did, because it had some level of fraud, right? You were able to defraud the person by telling, lies. And that's probably the other very, it seems obvious, but a lot of people will probably, lie. You really shouldn't, right?
Yeah.
So those are just some of the basic things that would definitely separate. And let's throw another last one in. It could also be, you have to take into consideration what relationship or do I have with the person personally or professionally, and am I thinking about it in the short term, medium term, or long term? What do I want to? Is this a done deal, or am I thinking about longevity? So those are also some of the other things that will influence how you negotiate and what you're negotiating for. And then if you consider what exactly is a win-win. But I think that is one of your questions that you had wanted to ask about. So I'll just wait till we get there before I go in that direction. But does that give you a good idea of some of the differences that somebody with a new skills versus somebody a little bit more advanced skills would consider asking? And of course,
Yes.
there's more, but I think that's a good amount for now.
Thank you so much. And
Okay.
actually, Chad from London is from Exos UK is giving us his input. He said you're doing great, and he said in his experience, a no is one step closer to a yes from someone else. And that,
Absolutely. Chad, you get it.
yes.
Yes,
And he
yes,
said
absolutely. Yeah.
I have learned never to take no personally. Yes.
Right. Yeah. And true, if you also in business, you will get a lot of no's, right? But the no doesn't necessarily mean that it's a no forever. It could be a no for now, or it could
No.
be a no for that particular project. I was working with a state university, and they said no to one particular thing that I offered. Then I asked, well, what is it that you really need? And they shared with me what they needed. So I said, well, I can do. So in that negotiation, because you know what I mean? In that negotiation, because I didn't just say, okay, no, and walk away, I asked an open-ended question. What is it that you need? And they were able to tell me what they needed. And it just so happens I was more than capable of giving them what they needed also. So as you can see, that no got me to a yes in another contract rather than the present one at that time. So
Wow. That is beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. And Chad, thank you so much for chiming in. Please share, keep joining. We have a lot of useful information that will help you in any aspect of your life, whether you're a parent, an entrepreneur, a CEO, or a self-employed person, whatever you are, you negotiate at every stage of your life. So stay tuned as we go on. Judy, before we move on
right.
to the next question, I know you had mentioned in one of your lives that you should ask when you are in love. I like that statement. Could you explain it further?
Right. Right. So the things that people generally do as a rule of thumb, most people are emotional. Men
Mhm.
won't admit to that you are. So when it comes to nation, so because people tend to be more emotional, if you can determine what is it that they like and what is it that matters to them, when you get where, say for instance, let's move a job offer, right?
Mhm.
And they have now offered you the job. At that moment, because they're offered you the job, they have invested, they have done, the requisite interviews with you. They like what they've heard. They feel that match for the job description, right? and possible fitting into the culture of their company. So they thought highly enough of you to extend an offer. That means they're now in love with you, right? So at that moment is your spot. So at that time, that's when you now utilize sweet spot to ask and negotiate for the things that truly matters to you. And of course, you never take that first and just that's it and I'm good to go, right? So that's what it means when negotiate when they're in with you. And it's not necessarily only a job offer. You could be in the job. You can you're doing very well. Your management is praising you. You've executed on a huge project that brought them some level of whether profit or just cost cutting or some way added to the value of the firm, and they're just going bananas about what you've accomplished. That's also a spot. So you now have data to be able to present to ask for that pay increase. Again, you're in the sweet spot. They are in love with you. So when people are in love with you, it's an emotional thing at times. So you take advantage of that sweet spot and you ask for what you need at that time. So that's what it basically means to negotiate when you're in love. Think about it on a personal level, right? So say you're married, Patience, right? So
Yes.
when your husband is all feeling nice and good, right? And you want that, I don't know, diamond or something.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, husband, if you're listening to me. But anyway, so you want that. The time to ask him for those things is when he's happy, right? He's all
Yes.
happy. So the perfect time to ask for what you want is when they're in love with you. So, that's a good example to even take it on a personal basis. And by the way, know that your kids also do the same with you as a parent,
Oh,
right?
yes.
The kids would actually, they size you up. If mommy looks like she's not in a good mood, no, I don't think I should ask for that right now. But if she looks like she's in a good mood, I know I've done well, I've done all, she's happy with me. Well, mommy, you remember that thing that I saw? Blah, 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 blah. And at that point, they go in for the kill. You're in a good mood. You are proud of them at this moment. So you're more likely to get to that yes for them.
Thank
So
you so
that's
much.
it.
Thank you so. Yes, yes, yes. Ask when everything is going
Does it
well.
make
The
sense?
children, yes, it does make sense. Yes, it does. Thank you,
Very
Chad.
good.
Thank you so
And
much for
think about it,
joining.
Patience. Patience, think about it. You have kids. Think about it, your experience with your kids, and think back and recall, wait a second, they did ask me when I was in a good mood. They did
Oh,
ask me
yes.
when I was proud of them or something. And I'm sure you'll be able to recall that experience. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. It happened this morning, actually. Grace
Okay.
came to me asking, Mommy, so are we ready? She was ready, record ready for church this morning. So I was like, okay, oh, thank you for being so
Uh-huh.
ready. And I was in the bathroom trying to get ready. She was like, so, Mommy, you know what I want for my birthday? Because it's her birthday month. I have three things. My eyes just went wide. I'm like, three things, not just one? So, yeah, they know when to ask.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
yes, the next question is, can you negotiate everything with an employer?
Um, so I tend to stay away from absolutes. However, you can negotiate most things with her, right? And that's a thing that is actually a lot of employees, they or potential employees do not think about the negotiation in a building block style. And what do I mean by that? Say you've been offered that job. Let's use that scenario, and then I'm going to come back to things that you can negotiate. So when you've been offered the job, the first thing they offer you as a negotiation package, well, an offer package, I should say, is the base salary, right? So that technically is building block number one, but it is not the be all to everything that you want, because that's just the starting point. Now you want to get to a total compensation point, right? So that's the first block. Now the second block should be, okay, what are some of the short-term incentives that they could possibly offer? Now, remember, you, in order to be positioned this way, you had to have done the requisite on what that job pays, so you could go to Glassdoor, you could go to, I think there was a unnet.com. I will share with you the different ones, definitely one of them. Salary.com is also one of them. And you would go, it's like those, put in that type of job title, and you would have done the research to see what those kind of actually pays, right? So after having that, you'll be able to see, okay, am I on the right track? Did the offer come in really too, or is it in the midway, or is it high wage? Then in addition to that, because of part of your previous research, you would have had what would have been your low point, midpoint, walk away point, etc. Right? So you also would have had that grid, which you also encourage to make sure if you are job hunting, make your market and make sure you have created a spreadsheet that has these different things, the type of company, the size of the what that particular job segment of the industry, the salary cap, the low, mid, high, you have that, and you also have your low point, your midpoint, your high point. So then this way, when the offer comes in, you can basically slot it in and see where does that fall on the pendulum for you in terms of your acceptance. So now so that then the incentive, you could actually ask for a sign-on bonus. So that would be considered like a short-term incentive, right? Somebody could say, how could I be asked to even work there? Well, if you don't ask, you will never know.
You don't
there could be different scenarios. Like, for instance, exactly. Let me tell you, when I was, or I won't say the company, but when I was hired at a particular company, the offer came in. I asked for the bonus. And the reason I asked for the bonus is because I was taking that job in October. What that would now mean that I had worked, a whole 9 months at the other firm. They've got my expertise, but because I'm now leaving, I will not be privileged to the bonus that I would have gotten in January or February of the following year. So I negotiated that with the current, hiring manager and say, listen, I'll be walking away from the bonus if I take this job now. So as a short-term incentive, can I get, a bonus? And they agreed. I actually got the short-term bonus. So that's block number 2. So then we're going to go on to block number 3. Block number 3 will now have the long-term incentives, such as equity, the company, stocks, things like that, the vesting period. Sometimes when you go into a firm, you may not be able to participate in the 401 until X amount of time. The 401k, I know Chad is in the UK, so it may be different. And I think there was somebody from Dubai, so it may be different. But for the people who are in the US, in most private corporations, you have to wait a certain time of when you can be vested. You can turn around and say to the company, I really want to be vested much earlier than that. So those are some of the things that is considered long-term, because the longer time I mean, let's face it, a 401 is a long projection, right? And you're hoping that you'll be with the company at least for a few years minimally. So that would be considered one of the things that you can build upon as a building block. Now, the 4th building block would like other benefits such as vacation benefits. Say, for instance, I'm going into a company, I had 4 weeks before, the company now only offers 3. I can negotiate that with them and say, I know your policy says, at this level, you only offer 3. I'm a veteran in, the industry. I have over 10 years experience. And in the market, people with over 10 years experience, this is what they make. So you can, again, offer that as a point of negotiation. You can also, tuition reimbursement. So most companies offer that, but for granted, not every company offers that. You can also negotiate for medical leave. Medical, I should say, insurance, because some companies also, it's not effective right away. There's also a waiting. You can also negotiate with them to say, no, I want my medical to start the day I start. So those are some of the examples that you can use as a building block. No, the 5th building block, which is the final one, this one, these are really perks, and it's usually sometimes on an executive level, but I operate the mantra. I don't operate on I will ask for what I want. If I get it, yoo-hoo. If I don't get it, well, can we get something else? So kind of the mantra that I believe in. And that fifth building block is maybe I could ask for, let's say, like to work from home,
Hmm.
or it could be, say, a company car, things
Hmm.
like that. So those are truly, the more luxury perks, like you can ask as your fifth building. So as you can see, what I did there was basically the base salary was one, the sign-on bonus was the second building block, and you see I kept building up and building up until you get to the fifth one, which is basically the perks, which if you don't get those, yippee ki yay, it's no big deal. The bottom line is that at least you build upon them at some point. So yeah,
Wow.
hopefully
Thank you
answers that
so much for the,
question.
yes, it does. It does. And you went way,
Right.
way. Thank you so much. I hope listeners, please, is this helping you? Are you getting anything? Let us know. Give us your feedback. Say it's helpful. Let us know. Give us your feedback, okay? If you're watching, thank you for joining us. Let us know where you're joining us from. Type in where you, the country or the state, wherever you are. We appreciate you for joining us. And these are important building blocks that she is sharing about how to negotiate. And she just gave 5 points. So if you join us late, please catch the replay. Thank you so much. So, Judy-Ann, I recently met a lady. She's a trustee of a big university
Mhm.
where we are right now, and she was saying that she was employed when at the level where she is right now, and then it took her, she accepted the job. Of
Mhm.
course, she thought she was making great money, so she took it. It took her a while, like let's say a few years into it, to realize that the colleagues, the men she was working with doing the very same job or probably doing better than them, were making more than she was. So she went into the office and asked why. So how can you know, walking into
Right.
the job you do not even know? Or let's say you mentioned that you should know your high, your low, and your medium. So it fell in there. So you thought it was okay. And then you took the job at the time, not knowing the people next to you or the people you're working with are making more. And why is there a hush hush issue about how much someone else is making? So sometimes you might not even know.
Mhm.
What do you say about that?
Well, it could be a couple of different things, right? And so we actually had a live on where we spoke about why is it that women tend to make less, and sometimes we think that is the industry and the old boys network, and we want to sometimes operate on a level of blame. Now, is some of that true from longevity with culture? Yes, it is true. However, we as women, we have to take ownership and responsibility of when we have the opportunity to even things out, to make sure we go for that. What by that? I mean, okay, remember I said before, go ahead and do the research to find it that that particular job title is paying. Now, would the research be 100% accurate? No. But minimally, what it will do, it will give you an idea. And you can also, there are actually people, sometimes you can ask them, give me a range. You're not asking their exact paycheck, but you'll ask them, give me a range. Am I in the right ballpark? So you're trying to make sure that you are get a fair salary, right? So that's part of our issue that we have, wherein it's that we do not do the research before to know what is the fair salary for a position, right? Chances are what could have happened, and remember, I don't know this lady's story, right? So you're listening saying you did this, but if she went in low, that could be one reason, and she accepted it, right? And unfortunately, most of these corporations or universities and the firms in general, they can get you cheaper profit. They're a for-profit business, right? So they're there to make money. And if I can get you to give the same quality work, and if not better quality work, and you're willing to accept that, it is what it is. Of course, they'll take the risks to deal with the low morale if you ever find out. Companies are willing most times to take that risk. Is it a good thing for morale building in a department? No. Again, you have to be responsible for what you contribute towards that problem. So the other example is oftentimes they will make an offer to us, and a man will say, well, I was expecting at least maybe another 10-20% more than that. The other woman would say, oh, okay. So that now creates an issue for years to come because she will always be. So if she gets a 7-10% increase, 15% increase, and he gets the same, she's still, see what I mean? So she's not
Yeah.
going to surpass him because her base was starting off small, and she was responsible for that lower base because she accepted it versus he didn't. He says, I was expecting that extra 10-20%, and they may have honored it one way or the other, whether they met the 10 or the 20 or somewhere in between. The bottom line is that at a higher base. So that is sometimes what will happen. Now that she's in the scenario like now, it's usually a little bit more challenging to be able to rectify that. It takes a lot more, but what she can possibly do is to do what was the pro approach, where you have the proposal. In this case, she's not being proposed anymore because she's past that stage. She's now in the firm. However, what she can do, she can go and right, but along with the proposal, she also have to bring along the data to support and create the value as to say, this is why I deserve more, right? And then the old meaning opportunities and options. So now she's now giving them space to provide an opportunity to make her pay be in more alignment with what she can, because maybe she's even worth more than them. So take your attention off of them. Just being paid what you're worth, right? Because you said that she does a much better job, for all I know, she's actually worth more than them. So that is something that she could possibly try doing, but not go in with that disgruntled approach to say, well, they're making more money than me and there's a gender bias. No, it's too late for that. Okay. Go in with the proposal that shows your value add. Let her collect some of the data of the work that she's already accomplished and show how the completion of those projects, whatever it is, those goals, those milestones, how did they contribute towards the department? How did they actually make that of the department look good, right? How did that go further upline and ultimately benefit the company? So those are some of the things that she could possibly, and then she can also pull from the outside and say, listen, this is the market rate, and present it to them, not in a threatening manner, but she presented, she's great at what she does. She's showed her value. Okay. Do we value her or not? And she's also given us options of how they could have an opportunity to maintain the talent that she is, what she could possibly do.
Thank you so much. Yes, it does make sense. And Cassandra, thank you so much for joining us. Cassandra agrees. She said it's true. Speak up, know your value, and then go for it.
Right.
Yes. Our next question is about BATNA. How and when should it be used? What is BATNA, first of all?
Okay, so BATNA. Oh Lord, but I remember that. That's your best was it your best alternative negotiation? What's the A stand for? Hold on, I did my notes. I forget the exact meeting, but it's basically your best alternative.
Yeah, to what you have right now.
Or right. So it's basically your best alternative to basically what you have right now. All right. So so the question was, what is it and when should it be used? So what it really is what alternative. So meaning if a negotiation failed, what is then B? Right? Your best alternative. So that is what it means. Now, when should it be used or should it be used? I think everyone should always have a plan B, because at the end of the day, that's what your best alternative is, a plan B.
Yes.
Okay, because the negotiation has not really panned the way you wanted it to have panned out. So then basically you're going to plan B. You're going to your best alternative option, right? So to answer your question, yes, you should always have that alternative, because if you don't, what's going to end up happening is that you're stuck. You know what I mean? So you don't have anything else to pull from. to give you an example, when I go back to that state that I was speaking about, when my first option failed, right? The next option was to ask, okay, so what is it that you need? So that's a form. I created a best alternative right then and there by asking whatever there is that you needed at the time. But to answer your question, you should always have a best alternative. And if they don't have one, create one, like what I did in that state university option. So yeah.
Thank you, Sheila. Thank you so much for joining. That's my CEO friend, wife after prison. Thank you so much for all you're doing for our individuals who are coming out of incarceration. We appreciate you, and I hope the terms and the discussion are going to be helpful to you in your negotiations. Okay, so Judy-Ann, my next question is, do you always win in a negotiation? You know, you are prepared, you have your confidence on, you have done all your research, you know, you have your ABC, what to ask about the base salary, the vacation, the bonuses and everything. And then you go in there and then you sit down, put all your cards on the table.
Okay, before I answer that, so let me just acknowledge Carlene, and I see Edward also watching here. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, and I see Ronald also. Thank you guys. All righty, so do you always win? Okay, so you can't, because you remember I also said you also had your plan B. Now, it also depends on your interpretation of what is the definition of a good negotiation. Everyone won. What that really means is that I have received something of value that I wanted, and so have you, right? Meaning that receives is of higher value to you, and the thing that I is of higher value to me. Let's do a very basic example. If I'm hungry, I'm talking about food a lot. Maybe because I just came home from church and I haven't had lunch yet. But anyway, so if I'm the food, right? And I have, say, $5, and I want that, cookie or whatever it is over there. Now, to the store owner, they value my $5 more than they value that cookie. But I value the cookie more than I value the $5 because I can eat the $5, right?
No.
So we're going to do an exchange, right? So in that case, win, because he's got my $5 and I got my cookie, and now I'm happy. And he has to run a business, so he needs revenue, and he's now happy. So there was an exchange of higher value each other. So in that case, yes, you can have a win-win in most cases if it was a successful transaction. Now, if I didn't exchange for the food, I wouldn't have gotten the food. I'm miserable. And then the other person wouldn't have gotten the revenue either. And then there's obviously nobody wins in this like that. But in most cases, a good negotiation, a good contractual agreement is basically where there was an exchange of higher value to each person. So yeah, a win-win if it's executed properly. So yeah, hope that answered the question.
Thank you. Yes, it did.
I didn't confuse you.
Answer.
Yeah.
No, you did not. So
Okay,
there is
good.
a win in any ways. Yeah.
Good.
You either win or you learn and then come back, bounce back
Right.
again and do it. Yes. Yes. So thank you very much.
Right, exactly.
And I posted a question last week asking people if you were to do something again, like you have negotiated before and you are in a good place right now, what would you have done differently? And then Eric, on your page, he said, I would have asked for Saturdays off because Saturdays are for family and I didn't ask for it, so now I work on Saturdays. And I think Angela said something, I don't remember what she said, but I'm sure all of us have something that if we were to do it again.
I mean, well, for Eric's question about he negotiated about Saturdays, what's stopping him from negotiating now, right? It's going to be harder, but you got to remember, if you don't do the research, present your value, ask, you would never know. I operate from the premise of you can only say no. So I did see that comment by,
Try.
Eric, and I still think that you should try. For all I know, they'll be more than happy to give him that Saturday off. Part of his currency is family time and quality time with his family. So, he could value that too, right? Could be one of their value points in terms of behaviors of the firm. So again, put to them, what will happen if I'm not here on Saturdays? How can I achieve the same need to achieve on that Saturday? So if he can information in that way and present that value, then chances are he could take them to a yes right away. And then one of the things you can do is that utilize empathy when you're negotiating. Instead of saying, no, that's not good enough, and be hardball, use empathy. Say, listen, I understand there's a lot of work here to be done. I understand there are deadlines. However, my family life is so very important to me, and this is what I propose. So you're not discussing the need and the wants of the firm or whoever you're negotiating with. You are validating and confirming that, yes, it is important, but all get it done this way, and it will help meet my requirements for my quality time, and it will, or I can do this way, will also still meet your company requirements. So there's really nothing stopping Eric from renegotiating again. It is not a guarantee that they'll get to a yes, but again, if you don't utilize your ask and your value proposition and create opportunities for them to say get to the yes for you, then you will never know. So I don't think there's anything stopping him. So
Wow. That is very good. Thank
mm-hmm.
you. So we should use our ask. So if you are listening and if you're watching, please go when you go back to the person you are in transaction with. There is no set time to go back to the drawing board and present your value and your facts and your data and just ask. If you don't ask, you will never know. So
Right.
if you're watching us and you have any questions,
Mm-hmm.
please go ahead and let us know. And if you have had any experience where you wish you could do something better, let us know. We are here and we are interested. Judy, do you have any last points?
Right. Before I go ahead, I see Edward acknowledging here awesome point and then saying good point too. So thank you guys for the feedback, much appreciated. I think one thing that I would love to leave you with is basically, oh, by the way, so let us do it the right way. I couldn't remember the exact meaning of the acronym. So it stands for Best Alternative Negotiated Agreement. So again, Best Alternative Negotiated Agreement. That's what BATNA stands for. Every now and again you have a senior moment.
Yes.
Anyway, so okay.
Thank you.
So in terms of what I would love, in terms of what I would love to leave you with, again, I always insist on the ask. I insist on creating that value. And I also love the idea of when a person sit back and really recognize their true value. Because a lot of the times when it comes to confidence, one of the reasons why we do not know, we do not get what we want and we don't go after what it is and walk into our greatness or purpose is because we do not do the internal work to understand our true value. We do not connect with what's inside of us. And because of that, that causes us not to be confident enough to move forward. I think I'm getting a little bit of feedback. Hopefully your headset is not breaking down. But so that happens sometimes where because you're not confident enough, because you haven't done, I'm getting feedback. Maybe try disconnecting your headset. Okay, I think it's breaking down. Hey guys, can you get the feedback? Because I'm here. Okay. All right, hopefully it stops. All right. So back to what I was saying, this is the last thing. So make sure you do the research. Make sure you understand your worth. Make sure that you are able to put together. All right, Patience, can you disconnect that because they're getting the feedback? Disconnect it totally.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, good. So hopefully that will stop it because it sounds like, when the battery starts to die. So it's,
Yeah.
yeah, right. So, right. So hopefully that helps it now. Okay. So as I was saying, so let me just recap again, is to make sure that you understand your value proposition, understand what is it that you bring to the table. More importantly, understand what is it you want out of this negotiation and why is it that you are negotiating? What does it mean to you? Understand your walkaway point. And basically, depending on the scenario, when it comes to a job offer, etc., remember those building blocks that I mentioned before. So those are just some of the things that I really would love to leave you with. And then finally is seek to understand. Whoever it is that you're negotiating with, seek to understand their position, understand what is it that they want. Because if you have that information, you're better positioned to create that win because now you can see, okay, this is what they want. So now I can work the agreement this particular way and get us to the sweet spot where we are more likely to agree and create that contract. So
Right.
that's all I want to leave you with.
Right.
Hopefully it helps.
It does. Thank you so much. Thank you, Oprah from Canada. Thank you for joining us. You can catch the replay. I know. Thank you. It's been great. Lots of points have been shared. So please share this video. Thank you, Tara. Thank you so much for joining us. And Judy-Ann, before you leave, I know I said that was your last, but I have one last question.
Oh, this is a surprise, huh?
Would you say that you take every negotiation as a learning point where the next time you go to another negotiation, you learn from the other mistakes that you did or what didn't work, and then you move on and become better? So would that move you from the beginner's level to the advanced stage?
Well, I mean, that's life. That's not just germane to negotiation. If I make an error or I failed at something, I don't view it as failure. I view it as lessons. And it's a true lesson if now I have taken what is it that could have been done better or what it is that I did not do that well. And I'm just now going to learn from that so I can elevate myself in that arena the next time. Now, will I be an expert as yet? It depends. It depends on where you're coming from, right? So if you were at the midterm level and you were getting almost edging into the expert level, then yeah. However, even experts fail too, right? Because you got to remember, contractual agreements and negotiations are fluid.
Yeah.
Not everything is the same. Not every job offer is the same. Not every vendor contract is the same. Even the people who operating on the NFL or the basketball level with agents, even them, they'll have failed contracts. And would you say they are considered experts? So I wouldn't necessarily say that one or two failures would get you to an expert level. What I will say is that if you've learned from the lesson and now incorporate the new lessons that you've learned, right? Then that will get you to the next level and you will keep growing and growing and growing, which naturally should be your objective. So yeah, that's the best way to answer that question.
Yes.
So.
Thank you so very much, Judy-Ann. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you. Again, if you missed, this is the Confidence Coach, Judy-Ann. She is the founder of Coaching You Upward, right? Where can they find you if someone is interested? Do you mind please directing us? Thank you.
Sure. Thank you for that. All right. So yeah, you can find me on a couple different platforms. But before I share that with you, what I also want to share is that I am having a free confidence mastermind course that is coming up. It will be scheduled on March 12th. If you heard me before, I had rescheduled the date due to some feedback that I got in terms of technical changes. So it will be scheduled for March 12th. However, please go to my website, which is coachingyouupward, all one word.com, and you can register there. You will also receive a free confidence ebook, and you can definitely take that to enjoy it, and you'll be registered. So the minute when everything comes on board, you'll get all the information in terms of the date, the time, the location. I notice there's a lot of international folks here. Not to worry, it is actually a virtual session, so you'll be able to join us. And if you're not able to join us because of the time differences, if you sign up minimally, you'll get the replay, the recording, so you are able to listen to it on your own time. So again, that is a free confidence mastermind that is going to be taking place on March 12th. Go to my website at coachingyouupward.com and you can sign up there, and you'll also get, the minute you sign up, a free confidence ebook. So those are the things that are available there to you. And social platforms. Now, you can find me, as I said, on my website. You can also find me on Instagram, Coaching You Upward. You can find me on Twitter, Coaching You Upward. You can find me on Facebook, Coaching You Upward. I also have a Confidence Woman Rock -CYU, which is for women, Confidence Woman Rock. And that group, I encourage you to join the group, and come join us, and you'll be hearing about different programs that are coming up and that are in the works that could definitely benefit us and take us to the next level, because we don't stay stagnant, we grow. So that's about it. Okay. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you. You're welcome. And she's on LinkedIn too. She forgot to say that, but if you're on LinkedIn, she is on LinkedIn, Coaching You Upwards. Get coached.
Right. Right. But I'm on LinkedIn though as my name, which is Judy-Ann Chung. So everywhere else, all the other social platforms, Instagram, Facebook, etc., Coaching You Upward. But on LinkedIn, I'm on there as my name, my legal name, which is Judy-Ann Chung. So you're welcome to also link with me there on LinkedIn. So I will be more than happy to link with you guys. Thank you.
Yes, Opa, I will put her information in the comments. All right. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you so much. Thank you all for joining. If you are catching the replay, we appreciate you. Again, my name is Patience Hemmingway, and I have here with me my guest speaker, Judy-Ann Chung.
Okay.
So thank you all so much. Let us know where you're joining us from, and do have a great day. Walk into the next week, the coming business week, with confidence, shoulders held high, shoulders straight, your head held high. We love you, and we wish you all the best. Negotiating. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, guys. Thanks for having me. Bye-bye.
Thank you.